Well, hi there. This is Ron Rogers, and I'm exploring changing the name of my channel. Okay, when I started out, this was just supposed to be for the kids and grandkids. I didn't think anybody else would find it interesting and watch or anything, but coming up to close to 20,000 subscribers and 4.5 million views, I guess other people do like it. So, just my name is really not very descriptive at all. You read Ron Rogers. Well, what does that tell you? It doesn't tell you anything. So, I thought I had to do something, and so I thought, okay, I'll change the name. And I changed it to Captain Ron. I thought, that's fairly, no problem with that. There are a few other Captain Rons around there because it's, not that uncommon of a name. So, well, whatever. But most of them are extremely small channels. So I thought, well, I'm fairly safe with this. And they allow you to have, a number of Captain Rons, I guess. So it didn't seem to be a problem. But right away, I did run into a problem. You see, there's this movie. Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn is in it too, I believe. It's a really cool movie. It's got Martin Short. It's really funny. But if you Google Captain Ron, guess what you come up with? You don't come up, well, I'm buried way, 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 way down there. So this didn't seem like a good move. You don't want to be, number 20,000 on the search list. Okay, maybe that's not working out so well. Okay, so I felt better of it, and I thought, okay, how about Aviation Adventures with Captain Ron? That sounds pretty cool because it kind of says, what I'm doing here and, aviation. And I consider my, background, my career fairly adventurous. I would have never guessed it kind of went the way it did, turned out the way it did. It went all sorts of interesting directions as far as I'm concerned. So I thought, well, let's try this. And I can actually, I found out, I was worried that if I changed the name, that I would have to start over and lose all my subscription people and stuff like that. So that's why I avoided it. But you can actually change your name twice in 2 weeks. I don't plan on doing that. But one thing I do plan on doing is, if you guys out there, and there are a lot of you out there, and a lot of smart people out there with a lot of good ideas, if you guys have some interesting names for this channel, hey, let me know in the comments or send an email or whatever you want. Love to hear from you. Any ideas, and I can always massage it. So, but anyway, Captain Ron. Well, let me tell you about this. Where I got that from. See, I started out in the Air Force as a captain, and then I went to the airlines as a captain. So I've got, maybe 27 years total as captain. Okay, well, okay, that's not too bad. So I think the title is fitting. But I gave a paper at the site Experimental Test Pilots. It actually won Best Technical Paper of the Year award. But I go out there and I am talking to an audience. It's at the National Symposium in Los Angeles at the time, and I'm got about 250 people in the audience, mostly military, civilian too, but mostly military. And I noticed the Air Force is kind of on one side, and the Navy is on the other side. So I get out there and I start introducing myself. I'm Captain Rogers, and I said, well, I've been a captain for a long time here, and I said, I started out as captain, and I'm going over 2 decades now, and I'm still captain. I said I've really never progressed in my career. And the Air Force people started laughing right away. But then you could hear the laughter move across the audience as the Navy people got it, because being captain in the Navy is pretty good. And the number of times I tried to go into a Navy base and say, hey, I'm Captain Rogers, they know that trick. If you're an Air Force captain, you want to try that, you're not gonna get anywhere. Okay, but they're on to us. Okay, but anyway, I digress, and it's not the first or the last time I'll do that. But I was very fortunate because of my background in the Air Force and that, to get on a bunch of Airline Pilot Association committees and eventually head the committees and merge the committees and do all sorts of stuff. I had a fun time. And I got to fly with actually some people that I knew back at Edwards. The two people in the orange flight suits there, actually, I knew from Edwards, and that was kind of interesting. And we stole a couple of test pilots, from NASA and one from one of the other manufacturers, and joked that they weren't going to let me come out and fly their airplanes because we were stealing their pilots. Anyway, I got to do a lot of flight test stuff. Got to fly a lot of commercial airplanes, and I put those on the channel, as you probably read. I got a few more to do, trying to catch up here. I got just about, I think, about 3 more flight evaluations to do. But I talk about the adventures of my career, and I was fairly adventurous, I thought. I got to do a lot of neat stuff early on. I got to be involved in a lot of the flight test programs in their infancy back in the mid to late 70s. It was a great time. Everything was going on: B1, F-16, A-10, F-15, the shuttle approach and landing tests. I mean, there was just everything going on. I couldn't have been there at a better time. And you make a few friends, and they say, hey, you want to come out and fly the F-18? Even though I was well out of the military. So, yeah, I got a few stories here and there. And one of the main things is you meet some really cool people. And that's Bob Gilliland there. He was the chief test pilot on the SR-71 and flew the first flight and stuff like that. And I got to know him. That's my wife there. We're at one of the Society Experimental Test Pilot conventions there. But I had a nice career with the airlines, and had my final takeoff out of Maui there with the water cannon salute, which you get the sun right, and they call it a water lay because you get the halo. So I got to do that. So basically, I'm retired now, so I can talk about the Air Force stuff without getting in trouble, as long as I don't go into classified stuff. And I can talk about the civilian flying, and I can talk about my airline flying. So I got a lot of stuff I can talk about, and I can post videos on basically what I'm doing now, which is civilian flying, as long as I don't violate FARs. That's one of the areas I could get in trouble. So you're not going to see flying under the Golden Gate Bridge or anything like that. That's not going to happen. And you're not going to see me bailing out of my beautiful Great Lakes there to increase the number of clicks. I heard somebody tried something like that and didn't go over very well. The FAA got involved, but I digress. Anyway, that's the story on the channel name change. And like I said, if you want to make suggestions, I would love to hear from you. And keep watching, of course. Keep clicking and subscribing and all those things you're supposed to do, which I really didn't know too much about when I started, because it wasn't meant to be, this channel wasn't meant to be much of anything, but people enjoyed the stories. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.